Call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. It is Tuesday, May 26, 2009. We're in the Nashua High School North Lecture Hall, and it is 7:08 p.m. If the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Hollowell is here. Mr. Haas.
Here.
Mr. Hogan. I know he's here somewhere. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Katsoas.
Here.
Mr. Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Dowd.
Here.
Mrs. Zine.
Here.
Mr. Mosier.
Here.
We have a quorum, and Mr. Hogan is here, and will be here shortly.
I believe he
left.
had to leave. He has an engagement
Okay.
that he could not miss. So if the clerk would read the prayer, and if Mr. Dowd would lead us in the pledge.
Almighty God, we have the high honor and the serious duty of managing the educational institutions of our beloved city. In our common endeavors, may we find a spirit of unity and understanding which will enable us to face our multiple problems with an objective mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Kelly.
I have the personnel recommendations.
All right. Anything else? All in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Personnel recommendations. Do you have questions we can do in public, or do you need it non-public?
No, I really don't have a question. I just wanted to do something, that's all.
All right.
I make a motion that we approve the personnel recommendations as revised on the May 26th, numbers 1 through 5 and 7 through 32.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Moved and seconded. Discussion? Mrs. Ziem?
I'd like to ask Mr. Hoddle if all of these retirements are going to present a problem in hiring the teachers and get it, because that means we'll have to hire an awful lot of teachers here in a short, coming at the end like this. Is it going to create a hardship on the administration?
Human Resources is already working on that, and we have been hiring all along the way. So, and you'll hear when we talk about the positions that are still open, that we are proceeding ahead and hiring as we go. We're not waiting for a date to start. It's a challenge, but HR is up to it, I think, because we had such a successful job fair, for one thing.
We had a wonderful job fair. We had 500 applicants. And then I went to another job fair with the NEA, and there was over 150 around there. So it was good. We're about the same as last year.
Thank you.
So if I understood, Mr. Kelly, your motion that you had moved 1 through 5 and 7 through 32. All right, Mr. Kelly.
Well, I wrote this on.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, I'd like to recommend the approval of the resignation of James Mooney as Chief Operating Officer. I'd like to speak to that.
Second.
All right.
Sorry to see Jim go, but I couldn't let him go without expressing some of the, I think, feelings of the board. He stepped in at a very difficult time. Chris was stepping in as an acting superintendent, and he was hired by Human Resources, and all of a sudden was handling the financial part of the district as the budget was just being finished up. And I just want to express our appreciation for the time he's put in here, and I wish him the best.
Ditto.
Further comments on Mr. Dowd?
Here, here.
Wish you a lot of luck in your new assignment. As I mentioned to you before, your biggest job will be keeping that new superintendent in line.
And I just hope that we get somebody that could
possibly fill his shoes and be able to supply us with the information as he has done so reliably and so accurately. We thank you very much for your diligence and your intelligence and the hard work that you put into the job.
I'll just add, we also thank you for your patience with us. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. So we've approved all of the personnel recommendations. We do have one item of business under new business, the Pennachuck Middle School sign, that we have some people here. I wonder if there's, if we might go out of order and consider that motion? Yes.
Make a motion and so suspend the rules to go out of order to address the Pennachuck sign.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Pennachuck Middle School sign. Thank you, Mr. Mealy.
Mr. Mealy will talk to you.
We're going to wait for him to come around here, and then... You want to speak to this, Mr. Mealy?
The,
We want to, do we have some people from Pennachuck? Would you like to come up?
the Pennachuck PTO
What, come up and grab a chair and have a seat.
has been trying for some time, I'm told, to get a sign, a marquee sign with information. And what I handed out is the location as you drive in, right on the corner there is where it would be placed. Now they've got the funds, they've got the sign, and they just need the approval of the board to allow them to have it installed.
Hi, my name is Isabel Hennessy, and I'm the treasurer of the PTO at Pennachuck Middle School. For the last 3 years, we've been trying to figure out, what we're going to do with the funds from PTO. I always say, we need a sign. This is so important. It's the biggest tool we have to communicate with parents. There's, in our school, around 40% of the students are using the lunch and assistance. So we do have a lot of minorities. And we do have a lot of participation in parents, but you can see there's a lot of them, they don't know what's happening. So we decided, me, my friend Jane Benituli, and the assistant principal, Lynn Joseph, let's apply for some grants and, do some fundraisers and see where we're gonna get the money. We didn't get any grant money, but we said, okay, let's do fundraisers. So for the last year, we've been doing fundraisers. And finally we said, PTO, we need you to give us the balance of the money because this is for our school. This is for the children that are there. They, parents will learn what's happening in the school because half the time the kids come with the stuff, they never know what's happening. So we finally came with the money, got approved last May for the board meeting, and the PTO board meeting. And we said, okay, so we didn't know we had to go through all these. Asked the principal, and the principal say, well, I'm sorry, my hands are tied. I say, well, I'm going to talk to Mr. Casoas, and he brought it up to Mr. Mealy, and we'd love to have the sign. The money's there. The city agreed to install the sign for free, so the sign will be maintained by the special education children at the school, so it'll make them feel being part of the community, part of the school. So we would love to have the sign ASAP. I'm leaving the Pennachuck because my daughter's going to the high school. I don't need the sign, but I think it's unbelievable how many parents will benefit from having the sign at the school. Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts. Yes, actually, do we have a motion first to?
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion that we
Well,
accept it, yes. But my question is, are you saying that the marquee you can put events on it?
Yes, it has 7 lines.
Oh, wonderful.
And we ordered I think it's the 4-inch letters, so we could have 7 lines, so we can do a lot of announcements. And it's gonna be locked, so it's gonna have 2 locks, so kids cannot
Put
vandalize
their own
it.
announcements.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have a second to that, just by the way? Second, Mr. Katsoulis. Thank you. Mr. Katsoulis, do you want to, did you want to?
Yes, when one shares a backyard with Mrs. Hennessy, one listens.
Okay. When Mrs. Hennessy talks, others listen. Very good. Mr.
So can I just
Katsoulis.
ask, so logistically, this sign, in terms of neighbors, like across, I can't remember how that is. Are there any neighbors across the street from there, or?
Not really. Actually, there's one kitty corner. If you are going through the street, you can see, you will be able to see this sign. But where he is, it's only one, on the neighbor on Manchester Street. He's on Manchester Street. He's far away from his house. I don't think he will be able to see the sign.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Good. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Any
you.
opposed?
Thank you
Motion
very much.
passes. Thank you very much. Okay, returning to normal order. Do we have communication?
On May 11th, from Robert Hollowell, on the interview questions for the superintendents. On May 13th, Bill Mosier on article from governing. On May 15th, from Robert Hollowell on deliberations. I'm looking down the line, I'm there again. So May 18th, Susan Guiducci, not sure that's the right way to say it, commending the BOE on the interview process. On May 20th, from Robert Hollowell on the Mayopac, how do you say that? Mayopac, thank you, school budget. And on May 26th, from Robin Perringer on the superintendent search.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone who signed up for public comment? All right. Superintendent comments.
Just a couple of things. First, I'd like to make you aware of the pilot distance learning class that we're looking at. This was an idea of Jim Pfeiffer and working with Jen Susing. We have a, and it stems from, it sounds like it could be in my area, but it's, there's, in Latin 4, we had 10 students at request at North and 11 at South, and neither would have been enough to run the class, and unless it had been combined with something else. But 21 Latin 4 students is a sizable number, and it's an important year, advanced language such as that. So Jim, knowing the many things that he does, Jim Pfeiffer, is working with David Ryan, Jen Susing, and Sherry Kupak, who's the South Latin teacher, on a program, and she's excited by it, where they, in some form, it's got a number of names. We've chosen distance learning. It could just as well be called virtual learning or hybrid learning. Students would be, the teacher would be located at one school for a period of time, and students would be in that classroom with her, and there would be a two-way audio and video connection through video conferencing software and hardware that we have. And we will bring this up later as a more robust discussion item, but I wanted you to be aware that we're looking into it. And Rick Ferenkopf is doing a lot of the legwork with Jim Pfeiffer and the principals in terms of technology, and he has a lot of ideas. Turns out that there are many ideas there, especially with Rick and Jim and the teacher, as to how this could come about. But it's I think a really important step to take a pilot in this fashion rather than just rolling the buses out once again. All of the opportunities that this will allow us to build for the future. There may be some, as Mr. Sherman's looking at it, NTU is making sure that the way the class is scheduled fits the contract. I want to make you aware of this. I think within the next month, before the end of the month, we should be able to come back with a more robust discussion item on it. Second thing is our Title I update with stimulus funds. Title I entitlement funding for the upcoming school year is $3.481 million, $3,481,467, and the signed application will be submitted to the Department of Education next Monday, June 1. This is a rewrite year. Every 3 years, the Title I program rewrites, and this is a rewrite year. So it's been important, and it will be important as this application goes forward, that we fold the goals that are enshrined for each school in this rewrite into the strategic learning, into the strategic planning process. And certainly the leadership team and the members who are involved with Title I, such as Pat Burns, are doing that. The ARRA, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, for Title I makes additional funding of $2.820 million available. It's addition. We're going to be encumbering half of that, or a little more than half, $1.47 million, and we'll be encumbering the remaining $1.4 million in the fall. I was at a presentation by a representative, a lobbyist from the American Association of School Administrators, who was giving up-to-date information on the use of AAR funds in Title I and in special education and IDEA funds. And districts do need to plan for expending the entire amount. They cannot have a plan for the first part and then develop a plan for the rest later on. So it's a full 27-month plan, not 24 months, but as with federal grants, 27. Anyway, it's Title I has its application ready, and you'll be hearing more about that. The third item is on the June 11 panel discussion topic. There is another panel discussion, which I think we all learn a lot from. And the June 11 panel was to have been new teachers, what we do for new teachers. But I was talking with Althea, Dr. Sheaf, and with Stacy. And before I leave, I wanted to find out, to put a little more intense lens on what it takes to make AYP. We've kind of changed the topic. We have changed the topic to what does it take to make AYP? And the participants would be staff members from Amherst Street and Dr. Crisp. They will be reading specialists, classroom teachers, the principals, and I think we can really get down and into some depth on what it is, what kinds of arrangements they make in schools for teachers to professionally meet and talk with one another, to look at students' work and to share and to develop themselves to a point where they can make AYP. And one of the participants will be Ava Scardell, who is the ELL teacher at Dr. Crisp, who's seen such success. And I think we can really, on June 11, have a good talk about what it is it takes to make AYP. Those are my 3 points.
Thank you. Other follow-ups, questions? Mr. Ziem?
I have two. One, when you were talking about the first thing, that's an advanced placement, is that Latin?
It's not
No, it's not.
It's not advanced placement, it's the 4th year of Latin. It is Latin.
Okay.
Latin
So
4, it's called.
okay,
It is
thank
an
you.
advanced class.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I commend you on that. That's a great idea. And when you were talking about Title I, I know we do acknowledgments of people who do great things in the district all the time. And I personally, I think I mentioned this to you before, how impressed I am with Title I. That program is short of being the best I've ever seen in my life. They're just wonderful over there. So I would love to see us acknowledge them in some way, to let them know that we appreciate their efforts in our district, I'm sure. Thank you.
I do have one more item I need
Please.
to talk about, and I think I'm going to let Jim do the superintendent comment on this. This is the, have we passed that out?
Jim moving on.
Jim made the spreadsheet up with Dana, so I want, this is where we stand in the sensitive area of positions that we've eliminated and positions or people we're bringing back.
There were comments made during the budget process regarding the belief that we had indicated there would be no people losing positions. And we actually were very specific during the discussion, saying that while we were trying to do everything we can to ensure that people don't lose positions, there would be some who would overall. And so we've tried to mitigate the impact of that, but as we had indicated, there will be some people who will lose some positions in different categories. So what I've done here is shown, based on the initial situation, which is in the left-hand column, it looked like we would lose 21 and a half teachers, 33 and a half paraprofessionals, 2 clerical, and a total of 6 FTEs for custodial. As of today, and this is changing every day, on the right in the middle, well, in the middle there you can see that right now there are 7.5 FTEs, which equates to 3 part-time and 6 full-time teachers we have not been able to find positions for yet. The paraprofessionals, and further on the comments on the right, it breaks that down to, that's 2 part-time from the high schools, 5 full-time from the middle schools, and 1 full-time and 1 part-time from the elementaries. For the paraprofessionals, we do not anticipate anyone who is in good standing right now and wants to continue to work as a paraprofessional in a district losing a job, because while there are 33 and a half less positions through the operating budget, we have on average 60 to 65 people who leave the ranks of the paraprofessionals each year, and that might be lower, but we also anticipate through stimulus funds that the special ed department will be receiving, that we'll be able to generate 30 additional paraprofessional positions. So again, we don't anticipate anyone who wants a position next year will be able to have one. For the clerical, that's contingent upon the board deciding that the 2 attendance officers that were called for in the budget are more important than the 2 clerical positions that we have. So at some point, administration will have to bring forward either a proposal that we just maintain for this year the 2 clerical positions and wait a year to reassess the adding 2 attendance officers, or it could make the recommendation that we go ahead and get the attendance officers this year. If that happens, then it would result in the need to cut 2 clerical positions unless the funds are found somewhere else. And lastly, the custodians. Originally, it looked like it would be 4 part-time and 4 full-time custodians that would lose positions. What has happened is retirements or resignations have allowed us to retain our full-time positions, and we would have to cut no full-time employees, but our 6 part-time employees would have to be let go. And so instead of 63 people losing positions, which it originally looked like was a possibility, right now, as of today, we're at 10.5 FTEs. That includes 9 part-time and 6 full-time employees.
Mr. Katsoulis?
Jim, where are the 2 secretarial positions designated for?
They're at 1 at each high school.
Just in conjunction with it, I believe we did have a discussion about the fact that the high schools were going to redirect these positions when we were discussing the budget, did we? So it was a preliminary discussion. We didn't take a vote on it, but I believe you mentioned that during those talks. Mr. Dowd, did you have a question? Okay. Mr. Albert?
So under the custodians, it's a part-time, it says 6 FTEs. Is that right? So there's...
It would have been, if you had 4 full-time and 4 part-time, that equates to 6 FTEs.
Okay, that's what I want
Yes.
to make sure it wasn't.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you. Student member comments.
There's an issue that's come up from some of the Nashua High North students that I know regarding senior pictures, because this is the time, this is the junior class, some members that have been upset about something, because this is the time where people start getting those senior pictures done, and you want to get the best pictures you can and get them in the yearbook and that kind of stuff. But at North, they have a policy that if you you have to get your pictures taken at Mark Lawrence in order for the picture to be in the yearbook. And a lot of people have come up to me and said, is that fair? Can they really do that? So I was wondering, as the board, is that fair? Can they do that?
Mr. Dowd, do you have a comment?
I believe that's been a policy for a long, long time now. Mr. Mealy, it escapes me, but is there some kind of contractual arrangement with the photographer for monies towards the yearbook? What is that contractual relationship with that photographer?
I think we're going to have to investigate this if I don't.
Well, I thought you were gonna jump in because you knew the answer. I was gonna say, I have no idea about this, I have to admit, and we can investigate.
I would suggest that we actually ask Superintendent Hoddle to investigate and see what's going on.
And I sent an email out to the yearbook advisor at North, and his reasoning was, it's just simply too hard when you have all these different companies to try to format them all in the same way. It's just too confusing. So it would be easier just to have the one company. And they said, even if you can't get your senior pictures that you're going to send out to family and all that, they'll do like regular yearbook pictures for free so that seniors can get that as their senior picture that's in the yearbook. But still, some juniors over at North were upset about that, so I just wanted to bring it to the board.
Understood. Anything else, or?
That's it.
Great.
Excuse me.
Mr. Katsoulis, you have another comment?
Chris, if I heard you correctly, you said that the Lawrence Photography would provide a free student picture for, the Lawrence Photography would provide a free picture in order to be placed in the yearbook for any student who chose not to go to them?
Right.
Well, I think that's great.
Mr. Kelly?
Just one quick question. Mr. Crawford's talking about North. Is the same thing in effect at South?
That's not the impression that I got from the assembly that we had. It seemed like, because Mark Lawrence does have assemblies at both schools, and they do prom pictures and that kind of stuff too, so they do have a good relationship with the school, but I don't think it's the policy at South that it has to be from Mark Lawrence if it's going to be in the yearbook.
All right, Mr. Hollowell, did you have a question?
Well, that was going to be my question, but yeah, I am interested in, I've always been curious about how this whole picture thing works, so.
We're going to have to look into this, and we'll do that. And there have been questions about, I think we had one citizen questioning when a picture goes in. There've been a lot of questions about the yearbook, and we can look into this, but none of us here have the answer right now.
That's it, and I'm going to have to head out because I still have homework to do. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your comments earlier as well.
You didn't just remember you have an AP test in the morning or anything like that, right?
Committee on Budget, do we have anything?
No, everything's status quo so far. I would recommend that at some point, probably in June, we have and I have to talk to Mr. Hoddle about when we want to take the numbers that we feel we're ending up with, or Mr. Mealy, and have another meeting to sort of solidify where this thing's going. Mr. Mealy has his hand up.
Oh, do we have a revised agenda then? I don't believe that the agenda's, oh yes, okay. So, Mr. John, I'm sorry, what I was